Welcome learners to our today's lesson. But before we start our lesson, I need to remind our daily practice. Make sure that you wash your hands, sanitize them, wear a mask, stay safe. Learners, today we are going to tackle about adaptation of birds. How are birds adapted to their environment? We have birds adapted in the mode of feeding, and when it comes to adaptation of birds in the mode of feeding, there are two things that are really involved here. This is the beak and the feet. We have several types of birds. There are those birds that we call them grain eaters. There are birds that we call them filter feeders. We have flesh eaters, and we have nectar feeders. Let me start by introducing grain eaters. What are grain eaters? What are the kinds of birds that... These are the kind of birds that feed on grains, and we call them grain eaters. Grain eaters have their beak adapted to feed on the grains. How does their beak look like, learners? The beak of grain eaters is short, conical, strong, and it is somehow striped. Examples of grain eaters are chicken, doves, pigeons, weaver birds, and guinea fowl. They have their feet. Their claws are adapted to scratching on the ground. Remember, they look for food in the ground, so their claws are adapted in scratching in the ground to gain food. Number two, we have filter feeders. Filter feeders, we also call them wading or swimming birds. These are birds that get their food from mud, and we have examples such as a duck, seagull, pelican, swan, flamingo, goose, and penguin. They include birds that obtain food from water, such as the duck. How are they adapted to getting food from water or mud? The beaks of filter feeders are flat, broad, strong, and serrated. When we say they are serrated, they look like sieves. This is to enable them to be able to filter food which is contained in mud or water. As you look at their beak, you can see their beak. The beak has shapes that looks like of a saw, and they form a shape of a sieve or filter. Observe the diagram, and you'll be able to notice that there is something unique about their beak. They have webbed feet. How is their feet adapted? The feet is webbed. When we look at the feet here, look at my learners, look at my hands. Inside, in between the fingers, there is a web here which enables them to be able to swim on water without sinking. That is how their feet is adapted. Serrated beaks is V-shaped. They are also teeth like for filtering food from the mud. We go to type number 3 of birds. Birds that we call them flesh feeders. Learners, observe to this picture of a flesh eater. When I say flesh, I mean it feeds on meat. They are birds that feed on flesh. They are also called birds of prey because they need to go and look for this food, that is prey. Examples, we have a hawk, an eagle, vulture, falcon, kite, crow, owl, and secret bird. They have beaks which are sharp, curved, that is, they are hooked, and they are very strong. This enables them to get hold of their prey. Observe keenly on their beak, and you realize it has all those features that we have mentioned. How is their talons? We say they have very sharp claws known as talons to enable them to catch and hold prey firmly. Learners, observe the diagram of an eagle. Look at the talons. Look at them, the way they are very strong. This is to enable them to be able to get hold of their prey. They have even an acute eyesight. They have an acute eyesight such that they can be able to locate on their prey. Well-developed sharp eyesight This enables them to spot their prey from a distance. That is why you'll find an eagle going up in the sky, and while it is there, it can be able to rest and locate while a chick is hiding under the grass. And an eagle will just come for it because it has powerful eyesight. Wherever it is, it can be able to locate these prey. The other example of birds we are talking about are nectar feeders. What are nectar feeders, learners? These are birds that feed on nectar. And we have examples of nectar feeders such as sunbird. Learners, I believe during the time when plants are flowers, or flowery time of plants, you realize that we have so many birds around those flowers. These birds are the ones we are calling them nectar feeders. We have said that they come to feed on nectar on the flowers, and examples of these feeders, we have sunbird, we have hummingbird. The beaks of these birds are slender. When we say slender, we mean slightly thin, slightly curved, and long. This enables them to suck nectar from the flowers. Look at the stigma of a flower. The bird will be able to put through his beak, which is slightly thin, that is slender, and long, so that you can be able to reach the base where the nectar is in the ovary, so that you can be able to suck it. These are the birds which we call them nectar feeders. They are light. They are light birds, and thus they can be able to perch on leaves without the branches of the trees breaking. They perch there, they get old, and they are able to reach on the flowers to obtain nectar. Their feet are highly adapted for perching. When we say perching, is holding the plant so that they can be able to obtain nectar from the flower. Please, learners, observe this diagram whereby hummingbird is trying to reach for nectar which is down in the ovary, so that it can be able to feed. They can also use their wings to balance in air near the flower, which enables them to be able to suck nectar from the flowers. Learners, that is all that we had for today about adaptation of birds. Just to remind you, we have said that birds are adapted to the mode of feeding, and the part which is mostly adapted for the mode of feeding is the beak and the feet. We have said that we have 4 main types of birds. We have flesh eaters, we have grain eaters, we have nectar feeders, and we have filter feeders. Learners, play this video more and more and get used to what we have just mentioned. Try to make diagrams, try to look at pictures in science books about the birds we have mentioned. Bye bye.